everybody, welcome to Simple Hobby Homesteading. I am Jenna, and today we are going to chat about some things you can do if you have young kids this summer. If they're in school already, these are fun things to do to kind of keep their summer learning going. And if they're not in school yet, these are really fun life things just to do, period. I've had a lot of people asking me lately, what are some good things? Either they're starting to homeschool or they're thinking about starting to homeschool, or they have kids that are going to be home this summer and they don't know what to do so that they don't kind of backslide in their studies. It just seems like the beginning of the year in August, September, the kids are having to review so much because they've lost it. They've just lost a lot of the information. They've lost the, I don't know. It's just, they've lost that love and feeling for learning. Okay, I don't know where I was going there. But before we start chatting, I am going to try Jaffa cakes. Now I have two Jaffa cakes. Jaffa cakes are in England. This is what they eat, I guess, a lot with like their tea. They have tea and Jaffa cakes. And I got these at Aldi's, the international store that is so wonderful. Now we're going to try the raspberry and the orange. I guess the orange is the common flavor. I'm not a fan of orange flavored things, but okay, so this is kind of misleading. On the package, it obviously shows them chocolate covered. Am I right? That's chocolate covered. These aren't chocolate covered. That's false advertising. I thought I'd get chocolate all over the cookie. Oh, never mind. It's not false advertising. If you carefully look, the top is chocolate, the bottom is not. Carefully look at this cookie. That bottom is not covered in chocolate. That's my fault. Okay, unwise expectations. Trying the raspberry first. Like a spongy cake, chocolate, and super thin layer of raspberry. Super thin. But it's a really strong tasting raspberry. Oh, and why am I in the truck? I've been wanting to record this video all day, but I've been crazy busy. Haven't been able to do it. Friday nights are usually our takeout food night. It's the night that I get a break from cooking. I love my husband. And so I'm at Double D's, the local restaurant here in Boonville. Love Double D's, by the way, folks. But we're getting takeout from Double D's. I'm getting a house salad. Boys are getting burgers. And Kevin wants an omelet. So I am going to make an omelet for Kevin. But I'm cheating a bit because he loves bacon with his omelet. And I don't want to make a whole thing of bacon. I hate making bacon on the stovetop. I usually make it in the oven. I don't want to make a whole thing of bacon. So I ordered bacon on the boys' burgers. And I'm just going to take that off and use that bacon for Kevin with his omelet. So I'm totally cheating. Which I don't mind making omelets. They're super fast, super easy. And they're really good for Kevin, so I'm happy. Okay, so the raspberry. I will eat those with coffee. Yep, I'll eat those tomorrow with coffee. I might eat those with tea tonight. Yeah. I can see why they'd be better with tea than coffee. Because tea, you are usually looking for like a little fruit flavor. Okay, so now we're trying the orange. Now, I usually don't like orange stuff, but I need to stop saying that because, you know, I just need to be open to whatever. So orange. Those aren't bad. It's more like a marmalade taste, rather than like a pure orange. It's more like an orange marmalade taste, which always reminds me of Paddington Bear. So that's a win. Okay, I could eat these too. That's a win. That is a win. Oh, wait, where's my notes? Oh. So, I have about 10 minutes before our food is ready, which is perfect for this video. I did write some notes just so I don't forget some of the things. So, summer activities for younger kids. Now, these activities don't have to be things where you're home all day with your kids. A lot of parents still work during the summer, and their kids are in daycare and things like that. These are fun things to do in the evenings, on the weekends. These are fun things, learning activities to do that really are more like games than anything. And this is more for younger kids, but if older kids like it, then go for it with older kids. So the first thing is playing store. We played a ton of store when the boys were younger, and they learned so much. So all the aspects of playing store, and that is whether you want to play grocery store or whether you want to play toy store or whatever you want to play, but have your kids, and you can help a little bit if you want, but only help by their direction. Like put them in charge of setting up the store. So have them get out, and if you don't want them to actually get out food, save some boxes of things, empty boxes, and you can put them in a big tote or something like that, and those are what they can use for store, or just have them use real food if you want. But have them use real things and set up their store. Have them either make little signs with pricing or get the little stickers, the little pricing, the little like garage sale stickers that they can write the prices on, or you can, and they can label them. And so actually do the prices on things. Use real money. That was a big one that I learned with our kids. We used fake money for the first couple years of play money kind of things when we played store. And they were really slow, not so much Jackson, but Gunnar was really slow on the uptake of learning money because he was so used to that plastic paper money, and it just didn't look very real. And so if you can use real money, especially with the coins, and the dollar bills and things like that, just if you can use real money, it really, really, really helps. And if you want to use like some fake money for the expense, like the 50s or the 100s or something like that, go ahead and use fake for that, or the 20s even or something like that, you can use fake like that. And I do like the bigger bills because when I played store with the boys when they were little, I would pay with a 20, and it helped them, and this is for a little bit older younger kids, like the younger spectrum but a little bit older, help them count change back. So they'd have to count change back from that 20. But label the prices. And okay, so talk about what the real prices are in life for products and things like that, but let them label whatever they want. Let them be creative with it if they want to do and encourage them to do like, $3.99 or $3.49, not just $2 or $1. Encourage them to do that so that way they can help set up counting back money. And set up displays. That's the other thing. Stack cans like they do in the store with displays, or teach them how to set things up so that they catch the eye and talk about that. All these things. I mean, marketing, it's huge. It's wonderful to teach your kids, all aspects of things. Make coupons. Okay, so this is really wonderful for helping with subtraction, especially those little bit older, younger kids. But have them actually make coupons. Show them what a coupon looks like and have them draw out coupons. Now, a lot of the stuff, they can do it once and you can put it in a tote, and then every time you play store, you can just use some of those same things, which is really nice. So get a calculator, get or borrow a calculator that's got that roll of paper so that when you punch out the numbers, it prints it out on the paper. I still love those. There's just something awesome about those. My boys absolutely love those. And it's good to teach them how to use a calculator. It really is, especially with division. I know Gunnar struggled with when you put in a division problem on a calculator, which number do you put first? Do you put 4 divided by 2? Do you put the 4 first and then the divided sign and the 2, or 2 then so he got confused at first. And kids are always going to use calculators. It's just a fact of life now, pretty much. The kids are always going to use calculators. And so get one of those calculator things with the paper roll thing is really, really awesome. You can, if you want, have them make a debit card or a credit card. And once again, this is all just for the game of store. You can, if you want, have them make a debit card or a credit card. It's a great opportunity to talk about the difference between a debit card and a credit card, what good credit looks like. Once again, this is, if you want to do this for a little bit older kids, that's fine. What good credit looks like, why it's important to actually have good credit in some way. Take turns being the shopper and the clerk. Okay, so when you actually play the game, take turns, one of you being the shopper and one of you being the clerk. And it also works well to play with other kids in the family too. But don't always have them be the shopper and you're the clerk. Don't always have them be the clerk and you're the shopper. Mix it up and have some fun with that. And talk about shoplifting too. I mean, all these things are really great learning atmospheres and learning things. Okay, so this is really cool too. Get a little food scale or borrow a little food scale, and that's just a digital scale. You can get them really cheap, $15 at Walmart, and they're handy for a lot of things. But so they can weigh produce and teach them how to weigh produce, and just put a bowl on the scale, and then and zero it out, and then they put the produce in there, and they learn what grams are. They learn what ounces are. It's really, really neat. So that's cool. Do you know what the difference between ounces and grams are? If you don't, Google it together. Don't be afraid to admit if you don't know something and look it up. Just Google what's the difference between ounces and grams, and then you can learn, you know, where each one is most normally used and so on and so forth. But weigh things both ways if you want. Make a store ad. You know how you have ads where what's on sale and so on and so forth. Have your kid make a store ad. A lot of this is creative, which is so cool. So that, oh, and a name tag. If they're the clerk, have them make a name tag for themselves, which is so cool. So that is just the game of store. That in of itself is the game of store. Tons of math, tons and tons of math. Art, because you're doing a lot of drawing, you're doing a lot of creative kind of things with spatial recognition and things like that. A lot of language arts, you're doing a lot of writing. And if you have younger kids, do the dots where if you want to have them trace the writing. My mom did this for me for a long time when I was little. She would make dots for the letters, and then I would just trace the letters. And she did that for a long time, and it helped my writing tremendously when I was younger. So that's one way you can do the language arts with them. Let's see, history. You can talk about the history of some of your foods, history and geography, where some of the foods come from, where they're grown, so on and so forth. So really you can get all of your subjects in just plain store, which is cool, and it's such a fun game. All right, so the next thing is having, so we're done with store. The next thing is having boxes of activities. So it's an activity box, one activity per box. It's like a tote about this size. And if you want, you can get a group of families together, and each of you do a box, and you just switch off the boxes each week. But you have one box per week out. And a box might be, I have some ideas here. A army men box where you have a bunch of army men and some sticks and some stones and some fencing kind of material or something like that. My nose is itchy tonight. I don't know why. But in that box, and then you can, if your kids find stuff that they want to add to it, they can add stuff to that box, whatever. But that whole week, they can play with that army man box as creatively as they want to get with that. They can play with that. Another one is rock painting. So have different rocks and some paintbrushes and the different supplies you need for rock painting. Some different pictures or a book from the library of an idea, different ideas for painting rocks. I don't know why my nose is so itchy. Isn't there a thing like someone's talking about you somewhere? Is someone talking about me? Who's talking about me? Anyways, rock painting. You can get a book from the library, and it's got like different ideas for rock painting and stuff like that. So, and paints and rocks and the shellac stuff that goes over to protect the paint. So that week is in a plastic tablecloth to go over, or some newspaper to go on the ground if they want to do it outside. That week is all about painting rocks, which would be cool. Those iron plastic things, those little plastic round things with a hole that you put on it, and then you iron it, and then they're stuck together, and you can make magnets out of it. I don't know what those are called. It's not bead art, but it's like plastic art. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know. But get a box with a bunch of those. And that week they get to make a bunch of those creations. Get magnets and things like that to put on the back. A fairy garden box. They can make a fairy garden. Gardening box. So that's a garden with seeds and some soil and a trowel and some work gloves and a book about gardening and things like that, and put that in a tote. A cooking tote, different recipes with measuring cups and things like that, maybe some ingredients. So that week they do a lot of cooking stuff. A school tote, plain school. Some red pens, some pencils, some paper, like a workbook or two or something like that. And you be the teacher, and they be the teacher, and you be the student. Have them take turns, and we'll talk about that in the game of school here in a minute, but have a school box, which is really cool. So sun catchers, have a box with a bunch of sun catchers. But yeah, you can, I've seen other families do where they have like 5 or 6 families, and each family is responsible for getting the supplies together for one of the boxes, and then they just, for about 5 or 6 weeks, they just switch the boxes around. So they take turns having a box, and as the supplies get low in a box, and you be responsible for adding some more in if needed. So it's really cool if you want to do like a co-op with the boxes. All right, so, okay, playing school. This was when I was a kid. My cousin Jocelyn and I played school, and we played jail. But when we played jail, it was more like school, because in jail you had to go to school. So it was like playing school, but we were in jail, which was nice because that meant that she couldn't leave. She had to play school with me because she was in jail. I think that's why we did it. I don't know. Did it that way because I didn't want her to leave. I didn't want her to stop playing with me. So I'm like, okay, we're going to play jail school, where you're in jail so you can't leave even if you want to. I was a horrible cousin, wasn't I? With school, I loved, and this is, I don't know if this is a personality thing, but I loved playing school. I loved being the teacher. I loved being the student. And the nice thing about school is if they're the teacher, they can make up a worksheet for you, but they also have to make up the answer key. So guess what they're doing? They're not only practicing their writing and stuff like that, but they are solving all the problems or sentence, you know, if it's a sentence thing where put a period or question mark or an exclamation point at the end of each sentence. Then they have to make the answer key too. And so they're figuring out all of their answers for the questions they wrote or the statements they wrote and putting them on their answer key. So they're learning so much, but they feel like they're empowered because they're the teacher and they're making an answer key. And there's nothing more empowering than having the answer key. People always ask, you know, how do you homeschool? I'm like, it's easy to homeschool when you have the answer key. It is. When you feel like a genius when you have the answer key there. Sometimes you just got to figure out how they got the answer. That's the hard part. But you just feel like a genius when you have the answer key. So it's a really neat game to play school with your kids when they're the teacher. I've always loved my boys. I much preferred them to be the teacher because they learned way more when they were the teacher. And so yeah, when we played school, almost always they were the teacher and I was the student, and so that's fine. Making worksheets, make the answer keys, go on a little shopping trip for some red pens and some stickers that they can use as the teacher. So that's cool. Let's see. Here's another idea for those boxes. Get a box with just random things. Pipe cleaners, food boxes, paper scraps, tape, pine cone sticks, and just see where they go with it. Just see what kind of creation they make with it. It's such a fun, it's like the odds and ends box. And my boys loved that box. They love sticks and rocks. That was their favorite thing, to make forts and stuff for the army men with sticks and rocks. Okay, another game to play is, or not really a game to play, but another thing to do is cooking. Have them come alongside you for all of the cooking. Have them help you explain measurements and fractions. I still, to this day, I know the answer, but I'll do this to my boys all the time. If I'm in the kitchen, they're in the living room, I'm like, hey boys, what's 2/3 plus 2/3? I'm doubling this recipe. What's 2/3 plus 2/3? And they'll say, 4/3. And I'm like, oh, what is that? What is that as a mixed number? And they're just like, and gonna be like, 1 1/3 or whatever. And so it's them practice, and I still do that. And so if they're not in there with you and you have some older kids, shout out like you don't know the answer and help them kind of keep those fractions and stuff in the forefront of their mind. Or if you're, cutting a recipe in half, you can say, hey, I have 2/3, I need 2/3 cup of milk, but I'm cutting the recipe in half. What would that be? And so have them figure out how to do that math. And if they say a number that's not a measuring cup, say, hey, I've got an 1/8 cup here. I've got it, what would be a similar to that, whatever. How can I use a 4th cup with an 1/8 cup, or so on and so forth. But yeah, so have them help you figure that out. I love doing that to my boys. Figuring out portions, find recipes together for cooking, help them understand what a balanced meal looks like, help them develop balanced meals. What's a fruit, what's a veggie, what's a carbohydrate, all things that you can teach them that have to do with cooking. And all these things are just tremendously helpful in life in general. So this summer, definitely get them in the kitchen with you. And I don't care if they're boys or girls. I have 2 boys and I make them help me cook a lot. And that's good. Around the world themed weeks. That's another really neat thing you can do this summer. Is each week or each month even, or every other week, do it or something where you have a theme for the week. And either you guys watch videos together as a family, or you eat meals around it, or you find a dance or something that they do there, or each person has to come up with 3 facts about, let's say you're doing Argentina, 3 facts about Argentina, and then share your facts together at dinner. But have like a themed week, go out to eat or something at that themed restaurant, if it's Mexican or Mexico or whatever. Get some of their candy from the international market and have a candy trying test, little taste testing thing with your family, but make it a lot of fun for the family to learn about that country for the week. That is so cool. Such great history, such great language arts there. So really, really cool. Field trips. Everywhere you go, make it a teaching opportunity. Not just you teaching your kids, but also your kids teaching you, okay? So if you go to the park and you see some different flowers, go to those flowers and ask your kids, I wonder what kind of flowers these are. We should look them up. Let's look them up on my phone and try to figure out what kind of flowers these are. And then once you find it, if they're old enough to read, have them read to you and explain to you what kind of flowers these are. Don't just be that teacher. Okay, now these are dandelions, and dandelions are used for this and this and this and this. Have them explain it to you looking at the facts there, all right? It's so different when the kid explains it to you. They retain that information so much better when they're explaining something to you. Field trips, though, heading to the Ohio River. Google where it goes. Is it polluted or so on and so forth. The Ohio River is right down the road from us. It's in Newburgh. It's in Evansville. Head down to the Ohio River and actually learn something about it. Google some stuff about the Ohio River. And then just walk down that trail. It's so cool. Interest-based learning. Okay, so this is my last note that I have. For the summer, this is huge. Interest-based learning. If your kid is into ninjas, make it the summer of ninjas, all right? Where you guys are reading books about ninjas. You're reading to them. They're reading by themselves. They're reading to you. They're reading to the dog. They're reading to the cat about ninjas. Watch videos, documentaries, movies about ninjas. Draw pictures of ninjas. Write stories about ninjas. Do ninja math where you have to, let's say, simple math like 2 plus 3 and get some styrofoam or something, or some thin sticks or something like that, where they have to karate chop the answer. I guess that's not ninja, but they have to like ninja chop the answer. So 2 plus 3 is 5. Well, they have to ninja chop 5 sticks, and try to get through 5 sticks or whatever. Be super creative with their interests. Their interests are probably not going to be your interests. That's okay. Still be passionate. You be passionate about their interests, all right? It's so much better when people share interests with you, even if as a parent, you have to fake it for a little bit, all right? Do it for your kids. And don't Gunnar had an obsession with Garfield books that's all he read for like 4 years. Well, maybe not that long, 2 years. All he read was Garfield books. And I was just like, are you serious? You're not reading any other books? You're not reading any novels or anything like that. You're just reading Garfield books. But his reading, because he was passionate about Garfield books, he devoured every Garfield book there is out there. And he actually bought them all and just devoured them and read them and reread them and over again. And his vocabulary was actually really good after that. His reading comprehension was phenomenal. He was enjoying himself, so he had a love for reading. And I just kind of stood back and I let him ride with it. And I encouraged it as well. Every time we went to Barnes & Noble, I said, hey, let's look and see if they have another Garfield book. Every birthday he got Garfield's books. Every Christmas he got Garfield books. And so it was, and I would ask him, I was like, what's the funniest Garfield comic you read today or whatever? And he'd read it to me. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that is a good one or whatever. And I'd be like, let's act out a Garfield comic. And it was just, sharing that passion with him really brought us together, and it made him really confident about his interests and about his passions, because it wasn't like me saying, oh, that's silly, you need to read something else. No, I let him go for it, and I'm glad I did, because in the end it made him a stronger reader, really, and it made him more creative too, and it really boosted his confidence a lot. So with your interest-based learning, journal about it. So have them journal about it. You journal about it. Journal back and forth. Have a notebook that goes back and forth between you two. Read about it. Draw about it. Watch it. And then you read to them about it too. A kid is never too old for you to read to them. So never stop that. All right. So that's some basic ideas for younger kids. Itty bitties all the way up to, I guess a lot of these would go up to middle school. The interest-based learning is for any age whatsoever. And you're not really leading with that interest-based thing. You're more facilitating. So it's not like you're taking a lead. Oh, we're going to learn about ninjas? All right, so we're watching this video. No, you're more facilitating. You're saying, hey, where would we go to look for ninja videos? Should we Google that? Should we go to the library? Where should we go to look for ninja books? Should we go on Amazon and get some, or should we go to the library and get some? Where, just throw the options out there, but don't say, hey, we're going to the library now to find you ninja books. No, that's not allowing them to take the lead on their interest. All right. That's you taking over their interest. We don't want to do that. We want to facilitate rather than lead. Okay. And if they are in an interest for a day and then all of a sudden they skip to another interest, good. Okay. Whatever. Even if you went and got 50 million ninja books, that's why the library is probably better than buying. Even if you just got 50 million ninja books and they switch to another subject, jump over with them, knowing that they might even come back to those ninjas later on. But don't get frustrated if they're very fickle about their interests. I know I am. Yeah, I own it. So anyways, those are some ideas for the younger kids. I hope you like them, and my food is probably done. I'm hungry, so I'm going to go get it. You guys have a great day. Remember, do what you can with what you have wherever you are, because homesteading can happen anywhere with anyone on any scale. All right? You guys have a great day, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.